Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey as he takes a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE Network.
From makeshift studios deep in the heart of stately Maine Manor, this is the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. I am your host, Joey Harris. Folks, we are back at it again for another week, and as I record this, the big news has come out that Paul White, the Big Show, has signed with AEW. So that is a big catch for them. I thought that if he did anything for the rest of his career, it's going to be with WWE, but not so. So congrats to AEW. That is a big catch for them, no pun intended. Did you have a good week, folks? I had a busy week. My wife and I did another one of our date night ideas. This week we had to go to Walmart, go to the cheap movie bin, reach around inside for a certain amount of time, pull out a movie and watch the movie that we pulled out. Then go to the chip aisle and do the same thing, point for a certain amount of time, and then whatever you're aiming at when the timer stops, that's what you eat. And the same thing for candy and ice cream, so on and so forth. So we go to the movie bin, and I'm to pick the movie. So she said, get ready. She starts the timer. I don't know how long the timer is for, so I'm reaching around. I'm moving DVDs around with my hand. I'm doing this blindly. The timer goes off, and I pull out a Scooby-Doo animated movie. Well, she didn't want to do that, so back in it goes. Reach in again, pull out a movie that I had literally just bought on Blu-ray. So she didn't want to do that. I said, all right, whatever we pick this time, though, we're watching. She says, okay. Reach in, and I pull out Justice League. I said, wait, we can get this at home as well. So that's what we decided on. So get our snacks and come back, and I started up, and my wife is immediately lost. Why is this happening? What's happening with this person? She was convinced that Superman was gone at the beginning because he was one of the people that Thanos snapped away, and did not believe me when I told her they were two different universes. Thanos has nothing to do with this and vice versa. She didn't believe me. Then she kept asking, was Ben Affleck Batman, even after I told her that he was. Then she said that Jason Momoa, whatever his name is, as Aquaman, was a good-looking man. Then she fell asleep on the couch. So that's how that night went. And then we went with our friend down to the southern part of Maine. They have a little bed and breakfast there, and they were going to shop for the weekend. I was going to go down for one night with them, and I had to come back on Saturday because I had to work on Sunday. So we're going down, and we pick our friend up, and my wife is riding with our friend, and we head out. They do some shopping along the way. We're headed to the it takes like an hour and a half longer to get there. By the time we arrived near the place, it's snowing like crazy. I'm slipping and sliding everywhere. I put my truck into four-wheel drive. I was thankful my truck had four-wheel drive. I put my truck into four-wheel drive, and they're circling this area. We don't know where to go. And so they circle. They come back around, and I see them. I'm at the top of the hill. They're at the bottom of the hill. Stopped. They stopped to wait for me, and also to try to figure out which way to go. I'm at the top of the hill. I'm trying to slow, and I put on the brakes, and I'm still going. And I'm pumping the brakes like you're supposed to when you're sliding. Nothing's happening. I'm pumping harder. They're starting to lock up. I'm almost standing on them at that point, and I crash into our friend's vehicle with my wife in her vehicle. So we pull forward. She pulls forward onto the other street, and there's a huge parking lot about 100 feet or so down. Pull into that. I pull into that. Her car looks okay. It's covered with snow, but it looks okay. And my truck looks okay. Both are drivable and all that. I'm like, well, maybe it's just scrapes. So we go, we find where we're supposed to be, and we get settled and go out for something to eat and bring that back, and we're eating. And she checks her car the next day. I check mine, truck, clean the dirt and the salt and the grime away and the snow away. And it looks like I have just a few like little 1/4-inch grooves, just a few of them. And her car doesn't look damaged at all. So it looks like we were extremely thankful and extremely lucky that nothing happened, and just blessed. But I called the insurance company anyway, and I reported it to them just in case in the future, something long-term would have happened and it was from this. Want to make sure that we were covered, for lack of a better term. All's well that ends well. That nothing was damaged. Today, we are looking at the 2011 Elimination Chamber from the WWE. Elimination Chamber 2011 was held on February the 20th, 2011, from the Oracle Arena in Oakland, California. There were 11,500 people in attendance, and the show did 212,000 pay-per-view buys. We start out with our intro. Ricardo Rodriguez introduces Alberto Del Rio. Michael Cole mentions that Alberto Del Rio is already in the main event for WrestleMania. Josh Matthews, Michael Cole, and Booker T welcome us to the broadcast. Alberto Del Rio does some mic work and gets a little reaction. He talks about those men in the Elimination Chamber just get to fight to wrestle him because it's his destiny. He gets cut off by Kofi Kingston's music. Alberto Del Rio versus Kofi Kingston. Kingston attacks early. Del Rio keeps getting to the ropes, back and forth. Kingston with a big drop kick. Del Rio goes to the outside. Kingston goes out and gets him. They go back and forth some more, and both end up outside. Del Rio sends Kingston into the ropes. This gets a 2 count. He gets Kingston into a body vice. He keeps going for covers, but Kingston kicks out. Don't take a shot every time they say road to WrestleMania, or you won't make it to the end of the show. Back to the body vice for Del Rio. Kingston hits a big top rope flying forearm. They trade blows. Kingston coming back. Del Rio counters a flying attack with a gut buster for a 2 count. A Kingston top rope drop kick gets a 2 count. A shot to the ribs gets Del Rio a 2 count. A big Kingston DDT, and he covers Del Rio, but the referee is distracted by Rodriguez. Kingston counters the arm breaker for a close 2 count. Kingston misses a corner charge, and Del Rio hits the top rope neck breaker. He gets the arm breaker on, and Kingston fights it hard before tapping. Randy Orton looking pissed off backstage. The commentators talk about the Elimination Chamber. Todd Grisham talks to Edge. He knows the odds are against him, but he's prepared. He gets interrupted by Drew McIntyre. He says Edge was the reason Kelly was fired, so tonight he's going to take the title from Edge. Edge says that the title and Kelly have something in common. They'll never be seen with McIntyre. Elimination Chamber hype video. We then go to our SmackDown Elimination Chamber match. Kane, Drew McIntyre, Wade Barrett are announced. After Barrett comes out, Teddy Long comes out and announces a replacement for the fired Dolph Ziggler. It's the Big Show. Rey Mysterio and Edge are the final participants. Mysterio and Edge start. Edge strikes hard first. He hits a flapjack. Mysterio gets his boot up from an Edge corner charge. Edge back flips Mysterio to the structure floor on the outside where he hits hard. They fight up top, and Mysterio hits a top rope Hurricane Rana on Edge. It gets a 2 count. It goes outside, and Edge punishes Mysterio against the cage. Both men down as Barrett is released from his pod. He attacks Mysterio. Edge throws Mysterio into Barrett, taking him out before throwing Mysterio into the chain link. Barrett slams Edge for a 2 count. A pump handle slam by Barrett on Mysterio gets a 2 count. He then throws Mysterio into the corner and slams Edge into the steel for a 2 count. Barrett misses a charge and crashes outside. Mysterio drop kicks Edge. Barrett goes to slam Mysterio outside, but he grabs the structure and starts to climb. Barrett pulls him off, but Mysterio Hurricane Ranas him back in. Mysterio sets Barrett up for the 619, but Edge cuts him off with a big boot. He gets a 2 count. Kane is released from his pod. He knocks everyone down and gets a 2 count on Barrett. Corner charges to everyone. Kane hits Barrett with a side slam and gets kicked in the head by Mysterio. Everyone tries to pin Kane, but no one can. Barrett runs Kane into the chamber. Mysterio climbs the ropes and hits Kane with some hard shots, but Kane responds with a right hand that leaves Mysterio hanging upside down in the corner. Edge hits Mysterio with a drop kick. This gets a 2 count. Kane hits Edge with a back elbow. Drew McIntyre released from his pod and immediately grabs and throws Mysterio into a pod. He and Barrett team up to try to eliminate Kane. Then McIntyre turns on Barrett and throws him through a pod. He then takes on Edge. He gets a 2 count. Edge counters a DDT attempt by McIntyre. Edge goes for a spear only to get caught by Kane, who goes to chokeslam Edge, who counters and throws Kane into Mysterio, who goes for the 619, but Kane ducks. Kane then throws Mysterio hard into the corner. Kane counters a McIntyre DDT attempt and sends him crashing into Barrett. Kane and Edge hit each other with boots and both are down. Everyone down as the countdown begins and the Big Show enters. He starts throwing people out of the ring. He stalks Barrett and has him up against the pod. He throws Barrett through a pod. He then slaps Barrett's chest repeatedly. He batters him all around and pins him after a knockout punch. Kane hits him with a big clothesline from the top rope. Edge then drops an elbow on Big Show for a 2 count. McIntyre hits the Future Shock DDT for a 2 count. Mysterio hits a senton bomb on Big Show from the top of the pod for a 2 count. Big Show keeps kicking out with authority. Mysterio hits the 619 on Big Show. Edge then spears Big Show. Kane then takes out Mysterio and Edge. Kane then chokeslams and pins Big Show. He then chokeslams and pins McIntyre. He then double clotheslines Edge and Mysterio. He throws Edge outside and gets a DDT from Mysterio for a 2 count. A Mysterio top rope leg drop on Kane gets a 2 count. Kane goes for a chokeslam, but Mysterio counters with a Hurricane Rana to set Kane up for the 619. He hits it and then goes up top and comes off but gets stopped by Kane, and both get speared by Edge. Kane is then pinned by Edge. Kane attacks Edge and Mysterio, both men down. Then Mysterio counters the spear for a 2 count. Edge rolls through a Mysterio crossbody and gets a 2 count. Mysterio gets a couple of 2 counts of his own. He gets caught up top by Edge. Edge catches Mysterio coming off the top rope and hits a powerbomb for a 2 count. Mysterio counters another powerbomb to set up for the 619. Edge catches his leg and puts Mysterio into a modified sharpshooter. Mysterio reverses it for a 2 count. Mysterio ducks a spear, but Edge hits it on the rebound for a 2 count. Mysterio hits a 619 and a splash for a 2 count. He then hits a 619 again, but it goes up top, and Edge spears him out of the air for the pin. After a recap of what we just saw, Alberto Del Rio attacks Edge. He tries to break Edge's arm. Officials trying to pull him off. Christian returns and attacks Del Rio. He hits the Unprettier and leaves Del Rio laying. Edge then hits Del Rio with a spear. We then see a Don't Try This at Home promo. Josh Matthews, Michael Cole, and Booker T preview the upcoming WWE Championship match between The Miz and Jerry Lawler. Matt Striker interviews Jerry Lawler about his upcoming match. Lawler is very somber, mentioning that his mother passed away 1 week ago, so that is understandable. That's what's been on his mind. He's wanted to be the WWE champion and compete at WrestleMania, and he doesn't want to let anyone down. Booker T announces Trish Stratus as a tough enough trainer. She also announces that she's here to watch Jerry Lawler win the title. WWE Tag Team Championship match. Santino Marella and Vladimir Kozlov with Tamina versus Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel with Ezekiel Jackson. Marella gets Slater in a headlock, which Slater counters into a head scissors. Gabriel tagged in. Marella with a back heel trip. Kozlov tagged in. He throws Gabriel into the corner and just brutalizes his midsection. Gabriel rolls outside. Gabriel comes back with a big kick to Kozlov's head and Slater with an over-the-top rope splash for a 2 count. Marella tagged in. He hits the Cobra on Gabriel. He gets a 2 count on Slater. Gabriel and Kozlov tagged in. Slater blind tags and hits a death drop on Kozlov. Gabriel tagged back in and hits a 450 splash to win. And we have new tag champions. Ty Grisham interviews The Miz, who has Alex Riley with him. He says this is the year of The Miz, and he will crush Jerry Lawler's dream, and the winner of the Elimination Chamber will suffer the same fate at WrestleMania. Vicky Guerrero comes to ringside. She wants Dolph Ziggler to get his job back. The fans boo her hard. She is good at her job. She tries to explain away Ziggler's actions. She's asking for the fans to contact Teddy Long to get Ziggler his job back. Long comes out and says he has hired somebody back, but it's Kelly Kelly. Guerrero tries to get away, but gets beat down by Kelly. Lay Cool come out and attack Kelly. They beat her down hard. Trish Stratus comes down. Lay Cool back off, then attacks Stratus, who tries to fight back. Stratus hits her signature moves with a little help and cooperation from Lay Cool. Stratus and Kelly then take some bows. Flashback to what's happened between The Miz and Jerry Lawler. WWE Championship match. The Miz with Alex Riley versus Jerry Lawler. Michael Cole playing up his heel character big time as The Miz comes out. Lawler gets a good reaction as he comes out. It starts out quick as Lawler gets a roll up for a 2 count. A Lawler backslide then gets a 2 count. Then an inside cradle gets another 2 count. Miz blocks a hip toss but gets clothesline for a 2 count. Lawler then hitting some corner punches to Miz. It goes outside. Riley distracts Lawler while Miz pushes him into the corner post. Miz continues to punish Lawler while he is out. Miz gets a 2 count. Riley with a cheap shot while Miz was arguing with the referee. The Miz gets a 2 count. Miz hits a corner clothesline. He goes up top but gets caught. They trade blows up top. Lawler hits a superplex for a 2.5 count. Lawler hits a drop kick, another 2 count. Riley trips Lawler. Referee Mike Chioda throws Riley out. Miz misses a corner charge and Lawler gets a 2 count. Lawler goes for a pile driver, but Miz counters. They trade close 2 counts. Miz charges and Lawler pulls the top rope down and Miz goes crashing outside. Michael Cole stands up and screams at Lawler, who comes over, but gets jumped from behind by Miz. Miz runs Lawler into the ring and into the announce position. Lawler knocks Miz into the announce table, then throws him on Michael Cole. Lawler throws Miz in and delivers a top rope fist drop for a 2 count. Lawler counters a skull-crushing finale attempt. Lawler hits a DDT. Lawler climbs the rope and drops the strap. He drops the fist again, but Miz gets his foot on the ropes. Lawler goes for the pile driver. Miz counters. Lawler goes for a sunset flip, but Miz goes down and grabs a leg for a 2 count. Lawler kicks out and gets Miz down for a 2 count. Miz hits the skull-crushing finale and pins Lawler. Michael Cole celebrates. He goes into the ring to celebrate with Miz. A Jerry chant goes out as Lawler gets up to leave the ring. John Cena is shown eating Fruity Pebbles. He tells Todd Grisham that his thoughts are on the Elimination Chamber. Matt Striker interviews CM Punk. He says he has defeated John Cena 3 times, and he is going to win the Elimination Chamber. We go to our Raw Elimination Chamber. R-Truth, Sheamus, John Cena, Randy Orton, CM Punk, and John Morrison are your participants. They replay highlights of what happened during the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match. Morrison and Sheamus start. Back and forth. Sheamus with a headlock and then a slap to Morrison. Morrison takes down Sheamus. They fight on the outside. They try to push each other into the structure. Morrison goes to springboard onto Sheamus, who moves, but Morrison hangs out onto the structure and delivers a kick to Sheamus's head. Sheamus hits a clothesline and then hits another. Morrison with another head kick. He goes for Starship Pain, but gets pushed into R-Truth's pot by Sheamus. Sheamus throws Morrison into the structure as the countdown starts. Orton is released. He hits a big power slam to Sheamus and Morrison. He tosses Sheamus out and tosses Morrison into Sheamus. Orton sends Morrison crashing through the pod Orton came out of. He then keeps throwing Sheamus into the chain link fence. Orton then does his top rope DDT on the structure to Morrison. He then delivers stomps to both Sheamus and Morrison and gets a 2 count on Morrison. Superplex on Morrison for a 2 count. Superplex to Sheamus for a 2 count. Countdown begins again and it's CM Punk. The pod won't open as Punk is stuck. Orton attacks him and beats him down. Orton hits the RKO and pins Punk. The Raw GM chimes in and reinstates Punk due to the malfunctioning pod. A CM Punk chant goes out. Sheamus attacking Orton and Morrison. Orton goes for an RKO and Sheamus pushes off. He goes for the Brogue Kick. Orton ducks, but Morrison hits a big kick to the head. He is attacked by Sheamus and run into the structure. Countdown and Cena is released. Sheamus attacks Cena as soon as the pod opens. Back and forth. Morrison takes out Sheamus and Orton with a crossbody and leaves them laying. R-Truth comes out and Sheamus tries to attack him the same way he did for Cena, but it doesn't work. Sheamus kicks R-Truth. R-Truth is eliminated. Orton throws Morrison through the glass again. Punk is released next, and Orton waits for him. Cena goes for the attitude adjustment, but Orton RKOs him on the steel instead. Sheamus then nails Orton with a kick, and Punk goes for a cover and gets a 2 count. Punk does Orton's taunt and hits the go to sleep, then eliminates Orton. Morrison climbs up on top of a pod and Sheamus knocks him on his back. He sets Morrison up for the high cross body from the pod, but Morrison knocks him down. Morrison stands back up and starts climbing towards the center of the dome. He jumps down onto Sheamus and eliminates him. Scott Armstrong counts very lightly on the outside, and even Booker T points out that he didn't want to hurt his hand. Morrison goes for his knee to the face, but misses and hits the pod instead and acts like he's hurt. Cena picks Punk up for an electric chair, and Morrison hits a clothesline from the top rope onto him. Punk slingshots Cena into the glass, which doesn't break. He then slingshots Morrison, but John catches onto the pod, jumps off onto the chains, and hits the flying chuck. He then misses Starship Pain. Punk follows it up with a go to sleep and eliminates Morrison. Very quickly afterward, Cena pops up and hits the attitude adjustment on Punk and eliminates him to win the match. They then sign off from Oakland. Hey folks, if you like the show, please leave a review in iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or your podcast platform of choice. There are a number of ways that you can contact me. You can follow the show's Twitter at CupofJoePod. You can email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I am at @TheJoeyHarris. Thank you for joining me this week. This is Joey saying so long from Stately Main Manor.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.